So what's happening in cybersecurity right now is, first of all, a lot of universities, I would say the vast majority of universities have it wrong. So if you're in a cyber program,
except for Palm Beach State College
Yes.
and Florida Atlantic University.
I said vast majority. So, but the reason why that is the case is because the schools haven't evolved with the industry, right?
I do agree with that.
And the reality is, I don't know if the schools were ever really on target with what's going on in cyber, because as the field became more defined, like there became this whole thing where they teach you how to be a SOC analyst, and I work with people. I have kind of own cohort where I work with people, teach them cybersecurity, right, one-on-one. And so the first thing I have to do is have to deprogram everybody I work with, because they come in and say, you go to Professor Master, you get the Security Plus, and you get the A Plus, you get the Network Plus, and then you just take certification tests, and you just play with all this cool stuff, and you take Google Cloud, and get the Google Cloud, search. But you can't do a single thing at cybersecurity. If I brought you on and put you in a position right now, could you actually do the job of cybersecurity? The answer is no, because the problem is in a lot of these programs, they're using free open source tools. Companies don't use free tools because those free tools require a lot of configuration, a lot of reading the documentation to get it right and tweaking and stuff like that. So the trade-off for a free tool is you got to do all the work, right, pretty much to get it working. And also it doesn't come with support and stuff like that. Most companies use very expensive paid tools.
Extremely expensive.
Extremely, which makes it something that as a student you probably don't have in your budget in most cases, right? So we already starting to see the bridge is broken here already, right? So you're getting trained on tools that are not used, taught like generic things. Companies have very specific tools that just about all companies use. So me and Dr. Johnson, we sit down, we already know there's multiple tools that overlap to our company. If I can talk to anybody else that works in the industry, if they're a decent sized company, there's going to be like some similarities between the tools. So let's start here.
Yeah, let's slow it down.
Yeah.
You guys understand when he says the tools.
Right.
So give me an example of a tool that you feel is a part of our we call it a cybersecurity stack.
A SIM?
Okay, yeah. And for the golden nugget, what does a SIM stand for?
Security
Event.
Information.
Yep, security event.
You got three words.
The same tool?
The same tool?
Security infrastructure? Information?
One of the letters, all right?
Yeah, they make me question it. Event, well, what does the SIM do? I'm always interested to see what year are you in?
Senior.
You're a senior and you're third year.
Into my third year.
And what does a SIM do?
It basically manages like the threats
Mm-hmm.
of what's going on in the organization, and lets like the company or the information security team know, like, hey, this is going on in your environment.
So let's get even deeper in the weeds. A SIM takes logs. It does an aggregation of information. So you'll have your Windows devices, you'll have your servers, you'll have your Linux boxes, you'll have databases, and all of those, everything that happens on the computer goes into a log. A SIM aggregates that information. So you can get firewall, you can get it from your workstation, you get it from user endpoints, you get it from your EDR, your IPS, and it literally creates a picture. I'm gonna leave names out of this conversation. We have a SIM tool at my organization, and it is amazing. I literally I have to limit myself, because you can, from every click that a user does down to a click in a Windows executable in their Outlook, and it draws like a 3D picture of everything that user does, from the logs that are aggregated from the machine, from the DNS when they're going out to the internet, from the firewall. So it's almost like art. It's crazy because you can see every step of the user journey.
The pun. We're in
art to see. We're in art to see.
just like that one.
But
Nice.
And I guess I'm very passionate about cybersecurity. He's gonna beat up the industry. I take a kind of a different view to it, because people go, I think cybersecurity got inundated with the fact that people go, oh, you make a lot of money. Oh, you make a lot of money. This career is not for the faint at heart. I equate what him and I do on a daily basis to what firefighters and police officers and nurses, because y'all the next generation of the fighters. There's not going to be someone coming down the street with a machine gun, hopefully not. There's going to be a person on a computer trying to get into national secrets, trying to break into banks, trying to steal identities. That's where the war is. So I'm very proud of both of y'all for making a selection. And it's weird because we're chicks. It's, first thing I walk in the room, they don't necessarily think I know what I'm talking about. Like I was in my master's classes and it was a class full of young men and nobody wanted to be in my group. But the teacher knew who I was. And he walked in and he was like, this Cuban dude, he's like, oh, you guys don't know, huh? Hello, Dr. Johnson. They all turned and it was like, yeah. Tell them what you do. I said, no, I'm a student today. And he was like, oh, okay. So, I mean, it's a wonderful career. I think you guys have been sold a little different. I plead with anyone that's coming into cybersecurity because you're going to look at these numbers and you're going to be like, oh, 75K. No, there's a lot of work. There's a lot of commitment. There's definitely a breakdown between what y'all were sold and what the industry is working. Like I giggle when I see a entry-level cybersecurity position. I still can't figure out what that is.
Still looking for it.
I'm still looking for it because what you learn in the classroom is not equating to what you would do in an enterprise. And he is exactly correct when you say, my SEAM, $500,000. It's not a game. And it's really rough on the students, but it's also a challenge kind of sort of where there's so many places you can go in cybersecurity. Like GRC, that's my heart. I write policies and procedures. I do security awareness training. I do PCI compliance, risk assessments, vulnerability scanning. And it's like I don't have a day that's the same. What did I do today? I filled out for cybersecurity insurance. We have our renewal process. And that's a whole other piece of GRC that most people don't even look at as a job. And I don't code. I Splunk every once in a while. Like he looks up vulnerabilities. I don't ever want to do that. But it's a very important part of cybersecurity. It's a part of that chain that, it works in finance, it works in healthcare, it works in aviation transportation, it works, every system has technology. So you guys have made a right choice, but I think in the last few years, it's been muddled a little bit, right?
A little bit more complicated. Can I beat up the industry? Yeah.
Okay, beat up the industry. Okay.
Don't worry, I'll bring it. I'll give you hope at the end. So, but all right, we'll start back with the tools, right? So, number one, I love this because people think cybersecurity, but they don't think like cybersecurity is just like, you say doctor, but there are surgeons, there are anesthesiologists,
pediatricians.
General practitioner or primary care. I mean, so that's the way cyber is. And so the thing is, if you're trying to get a job in cyber, if you just have like a bunch of general skills spread out through all of these disciplines, that makes you really not good at anything. It just makes you have a person who has a lot of knowledge of things, if you have a lot, because each of these fields can go super, super deep.
Very different.
Right?
Yeah.
So the first thing that you got to shift is, like you trying to mention where you are. So your third year, you're a senior, right? So what's your major? What's your actual?
Information management.
Information management. Okay, what's yours?
Management information systems.
MIS.
Big ups.
Interesting. So then that's a fun twist because so those fields, I hadn't heard MIS in a long time. Interesting.
A long time. Rerounds back again.
Exactly.
Yeah. Everyone is majoring in cybersecurity, and that drives me crazy. Like it's extremely. But it's catchy.
Yeah. So a couple of things here. So in MIS, that's more towards you're looking at the business side of it. But the problem is with the way things are now, like MIS was good 20 years ago, right? Because you kind of like, it was like a literal set role. You come in a corporation, you weren't really like the super hands-on technical.
You're a generalist.
You're a
generalist.
But the industry's kind of shifted, and that's kind of like almost not even like a space anymore. Like you can be in GRC, but that means you're an expert on understanding the compliance, the regulations and stuff that govern it, but still not being a generalist. It's very
specific,
very heavy
PCI or
on understanding
fintech or
how you can audit a cybersecurity environment and what things should be in place, what things should be done to fix the things that you determine when you audit it, and that's where the vulnerability side comes into this.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Good. Well, of course, thank you for coming. I'm a big fan as well as sponsor of Cybersecurity. So I work for a company called Fortinet. We're a national sponsor, and I work in cybersecurity. So I work doing networking platforms, cybersecurity. I work with large enterprise customers globally and helping protect their environment, their data, with our platforms, technologies, and tools. So we actually have worked with some of past peers. We have an entire certification program. Also, I'm a sponsor. So if you're starting your testing, you know, I see a lot of information here, how you get started. So I think it was the CTP test. What was it? Where the students were taking the test, and to take the test, it was when we did the one at the golf place.
Oh,
and Devin
Lord.
came out.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, so entry-level cybersecurity testing, and then you can jump all in.
Yeah.
We offer it all as well. Ours is no charge. I'll share the information out. The group here will help you get set up on like a LinkedIn profile if you don't have one.
Well, these are these are many professionals. They already there.
Yeah. Any questions? Thoughts?
We were kicking off a conversation of where the industry is.
How do I get hands-on training as a student?
There we go.
Okay, absolutely. So through the actual
Should I be start writing?
our network security engineering program, it actually has virtual labs set up. And then if it doesn't have what you need, you can ping me.
Or find one of us.
Email.
Yeah, we'll find.
We always have partner ecosystems with labs. I'm working on with one partner in Boca right now to try to get hands-on experience. So the biggest gap I've seen, not out of this program, just period. With
What did we just say? What did we just say?
it's you go to you know, I had some students from FIU, and I'm not even that smart, like Samaku, whatever it's called, right? Graduated cybersecurity, top of class, but there was no hands-on experience.
What did we just say? Yeah, we just had a 10-minute conversation that the education is good, but we're missing the assignment. We're not getting them. We're not making them day one job ready.
Yeah.
And some organizations, you know, academically are doing a little better than others because they get that there is a breakdown where we're trying to hire analysts or network administrators, and there's just not enough base knowledge there. And the lead time to getting them up and ready to be defenders, it's taking too long.
It's hard because I'm an underwriter of the Florida CIO, which is the top CIOs here in South Florida. And what I see when we go and we look at internships, there's only a set amount of interns.
Yep.
And then you got geographical limitations, and then you have alumni school and, you know, affiliations, and, you know, the CEO of the company says, I want people from FIU, not from FAU, not
yeah.
PBCC.
Yeah.
So your level of competition gets harder, but having some hands-on practical experience becomes very important, right? How do you, because now you guys bring your next genre brings on an evolution of automation.
Yep.
So I was just on a call, and my dad was listening in on the car, and my customer has it up. He's a younger guy comparative in the industry, right? But what he has done, he's automated it.
All
Where
of
you
it,
have to
yep.
log in, what I'm used to, and then click here, click here.
No, it does all that.
He does all of it.
He does
So
all
that's
that.
what you guys bring to the table. Is I've learned this, but let me show you what this could do. Does that make sense?
And that's our old school thinking. Like I love, and people go, you know, what's your favorite thing about working with the students and talking to them? It's their perspective. Like I had to learn cybersecurity. I had to learn computers. This next generation of student, they were born in it. There was nothing for them to learn. Like our niece, she's 2 and she runs through an iPad. Like she's been here before. And I'm like, what you guys can create is going to be amazing. But it's making that connection that you have the skills you need. Being a woman in tech, I'm not gonna lie, it's rough. Men are gonna look at you and they're gonna assume that you don't know what you're talking about, even when you do. So it's a lot, you know, it's very rewarding. We were explaining to them the different facets, and I hate when someone has a cybersecurity major because that doesn't tell you anything. What do you want to do when you grow up? Banana?
Yeah. What drove you towards cybersecurity? What drove you to here tonight? What makes you of interest?
Thank you. I am part of the Palm Beach State College Ethical Hackers Club.
Patrick and them, okay.
Yes. And I really found interest in not only the community, but I know that there's like a lot of kind of like individual things going on. Like people go and look for certifications, or like they do these things on their own, but there isn't a lot of like group collaboration, or if there is, people don't really know how to, I guess, collaborate.
Yeah.
And I kind of like to, I guess, I would like to be more in like leadership in that way. And so I'm more interested in like the leadership side and like management and things like that.
Gotta get dirty.
Yeah. But I also like the idea of not only how technology is emerging and how it's becoming more prevalent in today's society, and how we are becoming part of it, I'd say more. I'd rather, I guess, be one who kind of shapes technology in a way and makes it so that we aren't,
reacting to it,
Right.
proactive to make decisions. Yeah.
Yeah, being proactive, I'd say. That's
How about you?
So I actually was in the nursing route when I started school and worked at a nursing home that taught me.
I do that. Yeah.
So I was in the process of actually joining the service, and when I took the ASVAB, one of the scores I got most high in, I guess, was tech side, which was not what I expected, considering in high school I did not like the basic tech courses. So I just said, you know what, let me just try that route. My recruiter at the time was very, very encouraging of just putting yourself in the field. So when I went back to school to Palm Beach State, I saw they offered cryptology classes within the degree. And I was like, oh, that really interests me because I just like knowing what I'm not supposed to know. So yeah, I went that route, and my vision for technology now is it's just led me through the degree to find what I really want to do with it. I didn't know, honestly, when I started in. But I find a lot of passion in using technology for good, because I feel like now we do see a lot of things like, oh, technology is used for
Bad
things in general. And there's like actual crime that is going on. I take an interest in human trafficking, unfortunately. But I feel like bridging that gap of technology with real world issues that are like a plague to our society is what has brought me to cybersecurity.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's great.
This is why I work with students.
That actually does CTF exercises related to human trafficking using open source intelligence, right? To help you, like to literally help find real people. So if there's something you're interested in, like, then there's an opportunity potentially for you to volunteer and do that. So I'm glad he showed up. So Fortinet, I love Fortinet. Been a Fortinet guy a long time, right? So was a firewall administrator for a lot of years. So let's talk about the practical, right? Because I'm glad he showed up because, you talking about perfect timing.
Yeah, yes.
You did. You drove home the point. So once again, you never heard of the tool. Like one of the biggest organizations when it comes to firewalls and security right there, you never heard of it. That should not be the case. And that's why we say when it comes to a lot of the curriculums and stuff in schools, that's what's failing you. Because if you, say for instance, if you're a junior year, you actually are hands-on doing firewall administration.
You'll know that name.
Right?
You'll know that name.
So, right? So then guess what? When you graduate, somebody's able to utilize you. Like what I'm seeing in the industry right now is that we're starting to have like a deficit of people like network engineers. Like there are not enough network engineers that are being trained so that we have people, because that's one of those jobs. You can't really get that wrong. You can't really fudge that job. You need to know what you're doing. And so we need more people with high skill caps. And so instead of producing generalists, we need to produce very highly trained specialists, right? So that's what's happening. But for you all, this is a tremendous opportunity because guess what? The bar is really low, right? Because if they're trained, if everybody's going through a program, trust me, I got people in my program that came out of programs like
no names.
Programs that you know, right?
No names.
$15,000, $20,000, $30,000 with programs, graduated, can't do anything, never been hands-on.
Not can't, just haven't been exposed. How about that?
I got it.
Pull them back. Pull them back.
Yeah.
Come on.
Okay. So, and I don't mean it's that they're not capable. It's
Completely capable.
Yeah. A good example is I spent my first grade pretty much mostly fighting because my teacher was not in the room most of the time, and I had to survive. Right. So when I went to second grade, I was ill prepared, right? Yeah. So I ended up in special education. I had a good teacher who then got me into honor roll by fourth grade, right? Same scenario here. What's happening right now is many students are graduating with a real skill deficit. This gives you all the opportunity, especially first of all, you did the most important thing. You showed up today. So this was publicized.
First step.
A lot of other people, we know how many impressions, we know how many people saw it, so a portion of those were other students. But most students are really
follow through.
They don't want to get out their dorm room. They don't want to go sit here and sit in the seat. You're getting like hands-on mentoring, like from people who are really inside the profession and a vendor for one of the largest cybersecurity products. You will forever be changed today because you're going to walk out here with a different perspective. And you're going to know, whereas everybody else has their target over here, thinking that this is where the real path to cyber is, your target is going to be actually a true, it's going to be pointed to the true direction for cyber. So how do you prepare yourself in spite of any situation that you're in right now? So you're in the Ethical Hacking Club, right? So may I ask you a few questions about it, okay?
Sure.
Okay, so tell me as far as ethical hacking, like Have you run exploits using Metasploit or anything like that?
We do live like demonstrations using National Cyber League, and we've also used a couple of, what else do we use?
You want like a competition and everything.
Yeah, we
That's
do,
Dwight Elliott
it's
is
like
serious.
competition,
He's serious
stuff
over
like
there.
that.
So
And
he getting them dirty.
Right. There are also other platforms that are used, and then things that like other members come up with or find on their own, they share it with us.
Okay.
So,
well,
yeah.
But I'm going to ask you a very specific question.
Nice now.
You individual. Oh man, I'm being like, she says this because I'm a real hard teacher, right?
Yes, he is.
All right. So yourself, if I asked you to do a basic exploit, would you feel comfortable being able to do a basic exploit? And what tool would you use if you could?
I wouldn't.
You would. Okay. And that's what we need to change.
Well, I wouldn't say that. It depends on where you want to go in cybersecurity. And again, we use the term cybersecurity very wide. I don't want to code. I will never use Jack the Ripper. I will never use Metasploit. I will Splunk a little bit because I think that's fun. But we as children of the discipline have to understand the path that we want to take, especially with women. No offense, don't get pushed into a topic that doesn't, you may not dig, what he does. I don't dig what he do. I would hire him to go fix the stuff that I do. I buy a lot of him. I will never configure a firewall. Do I know the components of a firewall? Do I understand how policies work? Yes. I will never, SSH into anything, and there is a role that I fit. There are things that I can do. I've written documents for the federal government that would probably make his head explode. He does sales. I don't do sales.
Yeah. I'm looking now as we're talking, right? So when you hold to, the hardest part, and you hit the nail on the head. I tell team members, I tell anyone I mentor, you must be present to win. We've all been in a raffle.
Yep.
If you're not there and they call your raffle number and you're like, oh, you would have won, but you left early or you never showed up. So you can't expect to move forward or get what you deserve if you're not present to win. So by doing that
Amen.
tonight,
Amen.
it is huge. With that being said, if you're not exposing yourself to what's out there, right, and being uncomfortable, you may be the only one that you may be the only girl under 25, possible minority, not a minority, there, and you're surrounded by 40 guys.
I'm alone
all
a lot.
Different guys, right? But to that point, you're exposing yourself, and tonight's special for me because I just threw him in the car with me.
Come on, Pop.
So came to this country in 1967, right? Third world country immigrant, came through the right way, he was a teacher in British Guyana. But when he came here, they wouldn't acknowledge his accreditation.
Yep.
So he could have given up and said, hey, I don't know what. He got a newspaper, right? And said, look for what the jobs were popular. Just like you just talked about. The shortage in cybersecurity, like, I know you hear that. You're like,
It's wild. Yeah.
I get so excited, right? I have twin daughters that are 11, right? So this is very close to the heart to me. And one went the medical route, one's taken the technical route. So when Pops came, he went and got an accounting degree. He's been 45 years accounting. Education. So when it was my turn to go to school, right? He's like, you better go to education or you're cut, off.
Don't come to my house.
BCC, which is now Palm Beach State. And I just couldn't intake enough people preaching to me. I needed hands-on. I'm a hands-on guy, car guy, like mechanical. So to that extent, I said, Dad, I'm dropping out of college. Whew, that did not go well for
And to pick up your jaw.
country to tell his firstborn son in the U.S. that I'm dropping out of college. But what I did do is get my hands on it. Started going to the library. I got my first thing I did was my A+ certification. What is a PC? What is the basics? Then I moved on to my MCSE certification. Then I moved on to my Cisco certification. I'm not just saying logos and names, but if I didn't get that exposure to what those things are, those vendors, right? And not to say that vendors rule the world, it's just outcomes to progress, right? Someone develops something, right? We all have smartphones for a reason now instead of flip phones or tac phones. So exposure is everything, showing up is everything. And putting out risk, and Dad will tell you now, like, yes, I dropped out of school, but I'm 26 years. I was an engineer, and I cut over to the dark side, right? I cut over to the sales side because what I'm able to do is bridge the gap between what is needed and required to the business outcome. And that's an art in itself. Your nursing passion, it's still there for cybersecurity. And what I mean by that is operational technology, it's called OT, is the future of this country. Imagine right now if you're just drinking water out of that tap and somebody changes the dial a little bit too much chlorine. What do you think happens to all of us? And it happens every day. There's people in other countries and in this country trying to do that. So imagine all the medical devices are now Wi-Fi connected. So somebody turns up a breathing aspirator a little bit too much or turns down a heart rate machine a little bit too much. It's all connected and it's all cyber-based, right? Or it's all network-based. So I think for you guys is start to create in your mind, use the LLMs, use the channels to say, keep feeding your prompts. Like what triggers you in cybersecurity? Like this really, if leadership in cybersecurity is it, how do I become the best leader in cybersecurity? And they're gonna want foundational, you're gonna get pushed because there's gonna be someone on your team to say, you don't know this, right? And I may not, but do I know the tools how to get it done?
Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Have a seat.
Okay. So we got to put Dr. Johnson time right. You got let I'm gonna bring him home. Safely.
Bring him home. Bring him
Bring him home safely. All right.
There we go. Move that
But I
way.
do think she makes a good point. All right. So you're in the Ethical Hacking Club. Do you want to be hands-on with any aspect of it?
I do, yes.
Okay.
That's one of the main reasons why I joined it. That my major is more in business and it's more broad. And I'm also aware of also like what you were saying, that we should be hands-on. And there was also something else that you mentioned that really stuck out to me about exposing yourself. And I think that's one of the main reasons why I joined the Ethical Hackers Club, because I know that I won't get that much exposure just in the classroom. I know that I have to do it all on my own. I feel like that's I feel like that's one place to start is by exposing myself to the Ethical Hackers Club. And there are so many people in that club who know so much and who like say so many things I have no knowledge,
idea.
nothing. And it's, it's fun to learn about these things or like see something, or someone mentioned like a platform called Try Hack Me, and I've never heard of it before, but I saw like it was a free platform, and it's like one way to get, some
experience, hands-on,
some hands-on, like
go tinker.
Right. Like something, they have little, try hacking, little like rooms and stuff like that. And to, try stuff out. And I thought that was really interesting. And I kind of like play around in it and stuff like that. So even though I don't have like that, either like
Formalized.
Right. Or like what people learned in the classrooms and stuff like that, I feel like by putting myself out there and getting that exposure, I'm starting somewhere. And then I can meet somebody or network with people who will lead me in the right direction.
Gotcha. All right, we have some new guests here, so you mind can we? Okay, you mind taking the break? Let us know who you are and kind of what brought you here.
What's your angle?
Yeah.
What brings you out today?
My name is Ologia, and actually I am a pharmacist.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, you look familiar. you are my staple story. You are my staple story. Yeah.
I'm trying to pivot and transition into cybersecurity.
Okay.
I started the journey like year and a half or almost 2 years now. I got the certifications, I got everything, but still looking for the real professional training, internship or one. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Nice to meet you, by the way.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hey.
My name is Chris. She's actually a friend, so that's why we came together. So my educational background is pretty much in business administration and criminal justice.
Okay.
And I figured the best way to at least keep up with everything, since everything's technology based, go into cybersecurity.
Okay.
And cybersecurity is not only it's vital, but I mean it's changing very quickly. So you need someone who is not only going to adapt but wants to do it. It's important.
Yes.
The struggle I have is I am entry level. I have Security Plus. I'm literally taking an exam tomorrow for the CYSA Plus. God willing, I pass.
Yep.
Yeah.
Amen.
But as far as hands-on experience, I agree with her when she said try hack me. But for me personally, I don't know what it is for me, but I just like a physical aspect to it. That's just me. I don't know. Is that what
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. No.
I don't know why. Like online learning, it's not bad at all. It's very convenient, but there's just
Something's missing.
Something's missing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And clearly the best way to get to do that is whether if it's an internship or just someone giving you a chance. But that's the struggle I'm at. No one's just give me the chance to shine.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, let me do this. All right, I'm gonna give you so I've heard everything that y'all said. So my name's Kendrick. I'm a YouTuber, but I work in cybersecurity. I work as a director, engineer.
He's legit. I'm saying he's legit.
Web administrator, cell phone guy. So I've done it. I've done just about all the areas of cyber, right? And IT and stuff like that. So really just one of the things I'm seeing is you used to be able to go straight into cyber, but before most of us came into cyber through IT, like we were on the help desk. Help desk is one of the best places to learn to get into cyber. I'm telling you, because the thing is, if we start to break it down, all right, if I'm going to attack a machine, right? So we got all these fancy tools that give you logs and stuff like that. But I can tell you that every day I see people in cyber who don't have a very good fundamental understanding of the underlying technology. Like the PC, your PC is remarkable, right? There's so many areas, like the registry has all the different settings. Well, if you don't understand all the different settings, well, malware and hackers, they understand these things very well. So it's really not it's not going to work if you're not training your defenders to understand the PC hardware, just to start there.
Basics.
The command line, get in DOS, just type CMD on your Windows machine. Or if you're on your Mac, open the terminal. Go out there and say, look up a guide that shows me the basic command lines, right? And this is important even if you don't want to be hands-on in cyber. The reason why is I have a person that I'm trained, 70 years old, he's pivoting from insurance right now. I think he's remarkable because he can read and he can follow instructions.
Hey.
So first thing about cyber is you don't have to be technical to be you can be one of the greatest cyber professionals if you can read and follow instructions. So I spend most of the time working with people to train them. And a good example is if Dr. Nally, she whispers in my ear, she tells me something. He whispers. By the time it gets there, it's always different.
Telephone game.
The first thing I work on people is training them. I need this message. When she tells me something, it needs to get to the end of the table exactly as it was. You need to be able to retain information. The majority of people have a lot of things that we're not self-aware of. So if you go into it and you're not self-aware, then your biases are going to lead you to make incorrect assumptions sometimes in cyber, right? So you have to untrain and you have to, first of all, I always say you have to be a little bit nosy and a little bit curious, right? Because in cyber, you have to be the person that's going to ask the question like, that doesn't seem right. What is this? And people will blow you off. And you have to be like, well, I understand, Jim, but I'm still curious, what is this? So if you're intimidated by people, that's also going to work against you because the cyber person, you're kind of the person that's policing the environment, right?
No kind of.
So that means that there are all these kind of soft skills that you need in addition to the technical. Okay, so let's talk about this. Okay, for instance, if you want to be on the compliance side and audit and stuff like that, the guy I mentioned that's 70 years old, he came into the program. He said, hey, I just want to do the, I say, trust me, I understand that you want to do the compliance, but everybody comes to the program, I have them to do it. And I'm breaking, but here's the whole thing I have them to, I start with DOS skills, command line. I teach them all the common, and you can Google this, all the common commands that you need to do for DOS, right? Just type CMD on your Windows computer, search, open up the terminal. If you're on Linux, common commands there. Because a good cyber professional, whether you're hands-on or not, having an understanding of Mac OS, Windows, and Linux is very important. Okay, that's your foundation there. Number 2, networking. We have somebody, by the way, he's from Fortinet. Okay, so one of the largest, I would say security, but also firearm. Yeah. So
security defenders, market. Yeah.
So one of the biggest in the world. Been around for ages, and I love my honestly one of my favorites, But the thing is, it's difficult as a student. You probably, most people can't go out and just buy a Fortinet firewall, right? You can get some off of eBay, you know what I'm saying?
And that's how we got
So, but the thing is, networking is very important because, we're talking about a lot of cybersecurity programs talk about SOC analyst position, but if you don't understand ports, protocols, processes, all of that stuff, then how are you going to, you get an alert, how are you going to really be able to understand if this is something real or something that's normal?
False positive.
So I love the statement from SANS that says, "No normal, find evil." Right? So that means that you want to understand what you take a basic Windows computer. Say, for instance, you put a fresh install of Windows, or you factory set a computer. You go through that Windows computer or Mac or Linux, right? And you look at all the things that run on that machine. Once you're familiar with that, just like your home. If somebody walks in, they move something in your house, you walk in, you say, that wasn't there. You know, it's got to be the same way in cybersecurity. You should be able to understand what normal is, so you can find deviations from normal.
Are you talking about like baselining? Kind of?
Baselining is good, like when you talk about network traffic and stuff like that, but there are things that can't be baseline. It's just general stuff like
anomalies that the systems are going to produce. Like it's,
I mean, even because security is just not digital. Like for instance, right now, the company I work for, we're going through. There are people in the building today breaking in the building, right? Because you have physical security too.
Yeah.
So it's even like when it comes to like that person
don't belong here.
Yeah. You know, and most people will see that person, they'll never say anything. But the people that have a security mindset, they see that person, it's like,
don't belong here.
You know what this is?
Don't belong
yeah,
here.
exactly. And so that's what sometimes we have it, but sometimes you have to mature that curiosity, that nosiness, right? Because that's going to make you what I call pull the thread, dig a little deeper, get a little bit of knowledge. Because your entry point into cybersecurity is being very deep in a particular area. Okay, so whatever you're interested in now, your goal is to pivot. Try Hack Me, know about it. Hack the Box, know about it. I wrote the whole, so on Hack the Box, right? Have you ever heard of that one?
Yep.
So I went through and I did the entire beginner series. They got write-ups on it, but they leave stuff out. So I went through on YouTube and I did the whole Hack the Box starting point series, and I wrote the guide and I filled in all the gaps from everybody. And to this day, people still benefit from that. But what they don't realize is I benefited more than they did, because when I went through and filled all those gaps in, it put me in a different place. And so what was happening is I was working for a big corporation at the time, and what I noticed is that as I was doing YouTube stuff and making videos, teaching stuff, I was starting to separate from my teammates a little bit. You know, and there was only one teammate. Her name is Echo. I love Echo. We still together, you know, as friends. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I always call and check on her and stuff like that. Because Echo was different. Like, I'll say, hey, let's do this capture the flag exercise that this company is throwing. The other teammates would be like, you know, kind of not interested. They wouldn't show up. Me and Echo would be in there doing those exercises. And so Echo and I continued to kind of separate from the rest of the team. So all of a sudden, when we had real security incidents, I had the knowledge, I had to understand home back up and running. The reason I like this exercise is because, you know, the kids, they upset, the wife, the husband, they all upset because they can't get to the internet. So all of a sudden what you've done is you've created a more realistic environment, because if you bring down something in the corporate environment, they're going to be very upset with you. So there's a sense of urgency to get that up. So instead of just like doing it in a virtual environment, you literally turn your home into an actual corporate office. This is how you get hands on. So now you got the firewall, but you got the windows, you got the command line. I really point people towards PowerShell next. I'll tell you why. Most programs teach Python. Python is handy when you're a little higher level, when you're trying to do automation and stuff like that. The majority of the computers in the world are Windows. So why are you teaching Python when I can tell you as every day, like I'm writing PowerShell every day because I'm trying to figure out how to fix a vulnerability. Even things, so like for instance, every Tuesday of the month, it's called Patch Tuesday. Microsoft releases, like typically, like it's tens, 15, hundreds. It's hundreds of vulnerabilities that they patch every second Tuesday of the month. So please write down Patch Tuesday. That means if you have a Windows machine, that means what my job is, particularly just one of them, is when those updates came out this week, we have all our fancy tools and stuff like that. But I've got to somehow make sure all those tools get to 1,000+ machines, right? Some organizations, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. Do you realize that just the logistics of trying to update 100 machines is pretty difficult? And most organizations are failing to do just basic installing security updates. That is a really core component of cybersecurity. They call it patch management, all right? Second core component is vulnerability management. You have to be able to scan for vulnerabilities. So right now that door is open. Well, there's a vulnerability. Somebody could come in here. So we're going to close the door. So our job as cybersecurity professionals is to identify all the vulnerabilities before the hackers can. Once again, hackers, and this is why I like Hack the Box. I don't have anything against Try Hack Me either. But once again, they're not geared towards the real tools, the Fortinets and stuff like that. So we need to get you in real tools. That's going to be kind of the final piece I'll talk about. But the main thing is once you identify the vulnerabilities, the PowerShell comes into play because you got to fix the vulnerability. This is where most organizations fail. They know what the vulnerabilities are.
Just don't address them.
But they don't have first of all, there's political issues.
Yeah.
There's operational issues because you can't bring down the Honda plant. You know, they got to produce cars. And so you got to work around that. But then what I'm really seeing the biggest issue a lot of times is that cybersecurity, even in cybersecurity, the cybersecurity professionals are not trained how to do tactical vulnerability remediation. And so that's one of the things I learned as a consultant is, I've got 80 plus companies and I've got to be able to deploy and fix their vulnerabilities at scale. How can I do that? Okay, I had to learn to write scripts. I had to learn to understand Microsoft Windows updates at a very high level, how to update Zoom, Adobe, and stuff like that. I had to learn how to do pretty much, I wanted to be able to operate in the terminal just as well as I can operate with a mouse and keyboard. That is your goal, okay? And the way I have our students to do it is, like, for instance, these same Microsoft updates that were released this week, our students are going through in the terminal and they have to fix it. They don't have physical access to the machines. They have to use a terminal to run the commands to tell the computers to update, to run the commands to tell the computer to reboot, right? That this is how you want to practice and get into the field. So now that we've identified the vulnerabilities, we learn how to script them, and because you got to have some kind of tool that you can deploy this remotely, right? So we're deploying those, and then now we need to get into the endpoint detection and response. They used to call it antivirus. Please don't say antivirus, unless you're actually talking about McAfee or old school, right? So everybody uses endpoint detection response. They use it EDR, XDR, extended detection and response, all these fancy terms. The main thing that you need to understand is there's no way that we individually have the ability to sit there and monitor computers, even our own computer, to determine if it's hacked. You need to have some software, and most of the software has AI or some type of artificial or rule-based detection or something that they're using to be able to identify threats. And your job as a professional is, when those threats are detected, well, first of all, is to learn how to deploy the tool to all the thousands of machines. That's where your scripting comes in again. You got to be able to deploy the tools. Once the tools are deployed, then when those alerts pop up, that's where kind of the SOC analyst role lives in, because those alerts can go to a SIM. Security event was the only word you missed. Y'all said every word but event.
It's incident, right?
Incident and event management.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. You can be in the tool, but really you want to take all of the security alerts from multiple tools, put them in one tool, and then you can write queries, which is basically questions, right? But here's why I'm not a big fan of teaching the SOC analyst role anymore, because I just did a capture the flag with SentinelOne, and we used AI the whole time. So whereas you needed 10 very, very well trained people, all you need to know is what you're looking for. So they gave us the challenge and say, okay, well, we want to figure out how many failed login attempts were there. How many failed login attempts were there? AI came back and say, it's this many. It's like, where did they come from? Where did they originate? So now, whereas you had to have somebody who really knew how to write those queries, that's gone. So that's why I'm like, the SOC analyst position is kind of at jeopardy, because AI is really giving one person the ability to do the job of 5, 10, 15, 20, or maybe at some point it'll be able to do it all. I'm actually working with a guy who's wrote autonomous AI right now that he's like, we want our company to demo. So it's an autonomous SOC agent right now. So just want to know, like, I don't think that's an AI-proof position. Vulnerability remediation is for now, because mainly there are vulnerabilities in the PC hardware itself on the motherboard that have to be rebooted. And guess what? If you're rebooting it, you can't take action, right? But there's also a lot of other vulnerabilities that require you to coordinate with the users and stuff like that. So right now, vulnerability remediation is kind of a solid field, because nobody's getting it right, and I'm not seeing anywhere AI is getting close to solving that, okay? So then we also have to start talking about the cloud. We love the cloud, don't we? Everything's so cool about the cloud. Well, there's lots of reports that people are starting to pull stuff out of the cloud now, right? It's still going to be stuff in the cloud. People are actually building their own kind of personal clouds and stuff like that. But a cloud is just a bunch of computers located somewhere that's connected to the internet that you can get to, right? So you can make your own. You know what I'm saying? It's not that big of a thing. But I will tell you some terms that you need to understand. Terraforming is such a oh man, like I've got to learn Terraform because it's just such a necessity. So it deals with it. So look up Terra, Traforming.
I mean, I know what it means when it comes to planets, but
well, they're doing the same thing to the industry, but it's essentially like you're able to you can spin up things and tear down things really fast, right? So, is that Elastic Beanstalk? Yeah, 'cause I see
serverless base, right? So
Yeah.
everything right now that we work within says it needs a device.
Mhm.
Like an Apple device or an Android device is useless without the OS. What Terraform is allowing us to do is native access to the to the service that you want done.
Without the device itself. Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Without the device itself,
Yeah.
but it's using cloud resources,
Yeah.
or it's using private cloud resources, but it's an important language to learn. It's an important language to learn and start using, right? Because now you can have if this then that. Like think of you're at home, right? I can spin up a website, click through this website. The Terraform gives me access to a workout video, but at no point is it ever hitting one server to two server to three server. It's spinning up and down because the communication is one-to-one through this virtual private cloud. So when you look at that spin up, like, oh my gosh, how did they spin up so many Google sessions, or how did they spin up so many Zoom sessions? A Terraform in the cloud, right, has already scripted, I guess is the best way, or programmed. I don't know the exact verb.
This is called infrastructure as code.
Yeah, it's infrastructure as code
code.
is what they call it now. So what used to be, when I went to school, it was programming, right? It was C+. If you came out with a C++
Language,
or Java. And this was a structured sandbox of code that executed to an outcome, like a .exe when you hear that, right? Now, it's infrastructure as code because you're using all resources at one time to get an execution or outcome. Like the best example I'll give you, we all know who Orange Theory is, right? The workout company. So imagine in COVID, when they hit, right, and this is no endorsement of Orange Theory by any means, but actually worse than that because I let my buddy go. But with that said, everyone was going to the gym to work out. Now imagine you have to go worldwide to 1 million users virtually in their home. How do you do that? With an instructor, 1, 2, 3 instructors. They use Terraform, infrastructure as code, someone worked out in the studio with a camera, but that now went up to an individualized session when you wanted to go work out. You see this with Peloton now. So that's like a real world example of a business outcome where Terraforms worked, right? Cities are now starting to adopt it and use it. Self-service, what used to take my dad waiting in line to get a fence permit now happens instantaneously because they're coding it in such a way where it uses GIS tracking. It's using Google services. There's an execution of the web form. It's filled out. And by putting in the permit numbers, it knows where FPL is, Comcast is, the lines are. And it says, okay, apply for your permit. We've got it tracked and tagged. And all of that is done serverless, right? Otherwise, the way that it worked is the way we were trained. Here's a PC, here's a server, here's a website, here's a middleware website, here's a database. Now it's all happening instantaneously. And oh, by the way, that whole session needs to be secure.
Yeah. So, and that's why I'm learning Terraform, because I've got developers that I've got to protect, And so here's the thing: my past, I've done development, but the way to develop now is different because I've been I've been on the networker side for almost 20 years in networking, and then in the cyber. So my development skills are not up to par, but I understand coding, but I've still got to secure these very in-tune, well-trained developers who are doing all kinds of things they probably should, right? Because developers don't really think security.
IT be the loosest people. And when you take the
They feel...
I can do it.
Developers are funny people. We've all played a video game in our life. Every developer will leave a signature. It's kind of like you see graffiti on a wall, and every developer does that. I don't care who they are. They either leave something like in the middle of a movie, if they're developing a movie content, it'll be Hello World. It'll be something obscure. Now, what the problem you have with that is when they put that piece of code in there, it's like what we talked, it's exposure, a door is open. They could be now pulling something from terms like the cloud, like GitHub, or they could be pulling from another access point. And that access point, you're only as secure as that door is open or closed. And never get it twisted. Even if the door is closed,
It's still open.
it's still a false sense of security. Because someone will come through the ceiling, right? It just depends on how bad they want to get in. Now, our goal, why this industry will not stop, it will not stop. Where you're going, I was an infrastructure guy for 23 years. Started in 19. I started with a home PC. Just everything you talked about, I was laughing in my head. I bought a cheap home PC, right? And for you guys, like when you talk about hands-on,
That's how you
it's
get it.
about 10 cups of coffee to build your home lab. A Raspberry Pi is now less than $29 on Amazon. It mimics everything you need to do in the world. 9 out of 10 going to a thrift shop, you'll find somebody's firewall, probably with their policies on it. Or if you ask a neighbor, or if you ask me, I keep every firewall, or I certify destructed, right? Just because. So, I'll clear it out, but you'll get a firewall to do that exact lab in your dorm. And it's no bigger than this box. And then it connects to the internet, and then you file your protect. So the hands-on part of it, I hate to say it, y'all are babies, right? I don't want to hear it anymore because the grit comes from grit. You got to figure it out.
And put in work.
Right? You got to put in the work. And I'm not dogging you or calling you out. I'm just saying, go on YouTube, say, I want to build my home lab. The lowest cost. I want, use an LLM. You guys have tools that we didn't have.
Oh, yeah.
I want to build the cheapest home lab in my dorm with this size with minimal power requirements. And it will tell you versus us telling you, right? And then back to the hands-on aspect. Once you feel so comfortable in your home lab, you'll be funny. You can ask someone, be like, hey, when you go to their house for dinner, or you go to a place of business, like grabbing a cup of coffee, like the French place around the corner, and you jump on their public Wi-Fi, and you know what you know now.
Which I never would do.
I'm not. What you just say to them, like I said to my doctor, I said, hey, we're in an unsecured environment, and I don't feel comfortable giving you my patient health record information. My doctor was not happy, but he called out his IT staff once I started showing him these things, right? I did a closing for my father and mother's house, right? I went to the law office. I said, I'm not happy that you're scanning my information on that copier. They called the owner of a 70 practice firm in Jupiter. He's been there. As a lawyer, he does very well. This man does very well. And I called him out. He called it cybersecurity. So this is how much the opportunity is. And you can take it all the way to car dealerships, to
Anywhere.
security companies, right?
That is the easiest way to get an internship, is exposing. You walk in. I've done some horrible things to Walgreens. I love Walgreens, but it is key to get the hands on. I'm different because I'm the GRC. I'm the leadership part of it. I'm the training part of it. I agree on the home lab. If you're not a home lab person, it's important to get or pair with someone or have access to an organization that can give you the hands-on. And it's weird where my entire career was an accident. This was not what I thought I was going to be doing. I've had exposure. Sorry, where's Cisco House?
I own Cisco stock.
Okay, there we go. See, he understands, and they're all winning.
I love Fortinet stock better.
But it is getting the exposure. It is coming out to, finding your tribe. Like just to give a nod to Cyber Minds. We're 7 kids. We're adults, but we're kids that went to school together and found a passion together. That you need to have your support system. You need to come out to the ISSAs and the ISACAs and the Cyversities and get access to Fortinet and your Splunk lab and build your home lab and continuously sharpen your skills. The crazy thing is y'all generation is moving even faster than us. And I'm happy I'm old because and you're one of my telltale stories. I have to tell the story. We were at Topgolf and this quiet lady comes over and she's like, I am a pharmacist. Do you think I can understand cybersecurity? I said, boo-boo, you are a pharmacist. You understand the human body. I think it's wonderful to see you, and when it hits, you're going to be so mad. You're like, I have been waiting 6 months for this opportunity. You're going to be like, then 3 opportunities are going to come in. So steadfast, it's going to happen. Keep networking, keep doing what you need to do to sharpen your skills. I think it's continuous learning, and you'll see some of my hashtags are like lifetime learning because there's just so much to take in. It's just, it's drinking from a fire hose. You said that once.
It's about a couple of them. Yeah.
So I'm glad I'm old.
Can I see my phone there for a sec? All right, so
we did do pizza. I I insist you eat pizza. We have 6 boxes of pizza.
The windows and
I'm gonna be mad if y'all don't eat pizza.
Well, my
yes,
phone ran
like
out.
Windows and Mac, the commands, and then the next step.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right. We'll just have
Impromptu,
to edit it.
impromptu.
So, a couple things. All right, before we go, let's talk about the networking aspect, right? So, there are tech events all over the place, right? So they have. I found that if you go to Eventbrite and just type tech event, you'll see, like, for instance, they got West Palm Beach Happy Hour, they got Fort Lauderdale tech event. Right now they got Miami AI Tinkerers group. So what happened, the way I met Dr. Johnson is I signed up for a whole bunch of these events because I just kind of wanted to. So I was kind of trying to build out my own tech company, right? And so, or cybersecurity company here. And so I was out really to kind of meet, other entrepreneurs and stuff like that, shake some hands and stuff like that. And I started going, and within kind of in the process, I ran into Dr. Johnson here, which is why I'm here now, right? So I will say for you all, number one, everybody know how to use LinkedIn. Let's make sure you know how to do the LinkedIn thing, right? So you pull up your LinkedIn, you click the little search bar at the top, and you click the QR code.
That's your QR code.
This is the number one network.
Make friends.
Okay, so you want to get so good at this that when you're talking to somebody, you already brought up. Okay.
Someone.
Yeah.
And then if they don't know how to use it, they're usually like, oh, like for real, like. And so, you just use your camera to scan it, right? Because here's the thing, we're inside.
There is Black Girls Hack is an organization that I also work with. They partnered with an organization called InfoSec Map, and what they're doing is it's not Eventbrite. That's all they do. So if you go to InfoSecBrite, I think it's .com.
You know what we got to do?
What?
I think we got to put all this game on the Cybermind website or something.
Yeah, it's a build out. We need some website work. We're a poor nonprofit right now, but things are going to change. But we are looking for a web developer. Cyberseek.org. That's another one. If you're interested into digging into what the actual roles in cyber pan to, and how, if I want to move to Tennessee, what's the skill set that's most wanted in that areas. It isn't an accident for you guys. I think we kind of, as a generation, stumbled.
Yeah. No,
but you guys are gonna have to be a little more succinct and a little more intentional in finding that next opportunity.
So with that being said, because I was about to mention that, so pretty much being a SOC analyst wouldn't be the best.
I wouldn't say that.
The industry is showing.
Yeah.
It's declining.
It's declining.
Yeah.
Right.
So what do you guys recommend? Because right now, the last thing I want is to end up losing a job.
Right.
Like, I want to have the opportunity to, work and not lose the job security.
Yes.
Literally. So that's why, and I'm open for all different types of positions, whether it's blue team, red team, doesn't matter, purple. But I do need a guided path. That's like one of the things I stress about.
Yeah.
So
for my daughter, she goes out, right? Oh, thank you. And I'm letting her explore. Like, trust me, I would love her to follow my path and figure this out.
She won't. I promise. She won't. Yeah.
We're already. Look, if it's up to her, she's like, I just want to cut dresses out of balloons and go to Paris and stuff. That's what she wants to do. But I talked about OT.
Yeah, that's another one.
Technology.
Okay.
Okay. If someone were to guide me right now, universities are adopting. So Purdue, we built an entire operational technology. OT is everything. So when you talk about physical security, is making a comeback, right? Big time.
They're calling it cyber infrastructure or cyber physical.
Yeah. It is making a comeback because between facial recognition, real-time analytics software, AI analytics, people walking in and out. Sadly, you guys saw in the last month, there was a shooting every other day.
Yeah.
Everywhere. So how do you start to prevent that? So operational technologies now are doing things from critical infrastructure. So if you're an OT, if you have an OT certification and hands-on and doing things, FPL is going to pick you up. FPL is they are the largest, NextEra Energy is the largest utility company in the United States.
Well, let's give them some more.
Yeah.
How does OT fit? Does it understand the trajectory on how it happened? Like, I work at an airport. We affectionately say it's a construction site that doubles as an airport, and we occasionally have some planes fly off. But my baggage handling system, my parking operations, my HVAC, my fire suppression. They all have a basis of what they call operational technology. And what's ridiculous but amazing, they're taking these antiquated systems that were delivered, in the 70s and the 60s. When you think OT, you don't patch every 30 days. There are some OT devices that are patched yearly. When you think of wastewater, when you think of critical manufacturing, a part of my weekly Sundays, I'm going through the 16 critical sectors. That all of those aspects have operational technology built in. And for our generation, it was IT. We were IT shops. Through the federal mandates that have come down through all aspects. So I'm aviation, it came out in March 23. The first sector that got hit was rail. They went into rail and said, this isn't safe. And over these 10, 15, 30 years, we have added IT to OT. And now it's even crazier because you're taking something that was created in the 60s and the 50s and you've put this IT in it, and now we're throwing AI on top of that. So it's like how do you retrofit something, like even with PCI, it's payment card industry. Do you understand that we're trying to retrofit ideals of processing credit cards that existed before, honestly, like bad guys, before we used to
trade the information.
I worked at UPS and I found my old badge and my badge had my picture and it had my social security number on it. And that was my ID. But you would think now, oh my God, I would never do that. But the train of thought, how things work, and we bolted IT onto OT, and now we're gonna bolt AI onto IT, onto OT. So he's not wrong. OT, ICS, these are all things that already exist in infrastructure in the US, and the next line of defense is learning how to protect these basically legacy systems with this new technology, with this new knowledge.
And it's a gap. Because,
it's a giant gap.
Because you can have a ton of guys that transformed, like you and I, right? That were IT guys that now learn firewalls and rules, and we follow compliance, right? We listen to governance, what we should and shouldn't do.
No, they don't.
But we always leave it back to them, right?
Yeah.
So, and now there's other guys trying to find that. But within OT, like if you ask for like one specific, and it can be, it's so broad.
Yeah, it's everything.
And I hate to say like just one thing, right? But when you ask that, but the same side of it is, we were talking about that computer, right? And the registry and the DLLs. Right now, Microsoft, I wouldn't say owns the world, but majority.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, by design.
By design, they changed something many years ago when we started, from domains to Active Directory. And Active Directory is a tree. Like you can study it, Google it, read what it is, how it works. But a tree, it's a level of trust amongst people when you use AD authentication. Cyber criminals now, cyber hackers, are now cloning the ability to get into those registries. And they're leaving these things there for 5, 10 years.
That's the fun part.
10 years.
Okay.
They'll plant a little golden egg, right? They call it that. It's a little golden image. And then the minute that PC reboots or something happens, they get alerted back at home. Now they have full access to that.
Computer.
And how did they get in? They got in through your LinkedIn profile because you started as an intern and you clicked on something that said HR payroll phishing, PHIS, right?
Human beings are the weakest things. Like, yeah.
But now you just let them into a massive corporation or a small corporation.
And more importantly, you didn't know you did it.
But the point is, it's not whether you take it to OT or registry. You just have to don't be a generalist anymore. Don't come in and say, I'm cybersecurity. No, next time I see you, I want to hear, oh my gosh, I've taken 3, and most of these certifications are free.
On the OT side, CISA does have free classes because it's the next wave of things that have to be fixed. And it's like, I hate the cybersecurity major because it's like a buzzword. There's so much, and you have 3 different facets of cybersecurity sitting right here at this table. I don't do anything he does. They don't do anything I do, but yet we are still a part of cybersecurity. Right. So I mean, it's, and I'd like to throw passion in it. What up to this point, what do you like doing? Like, what have you tinkered with?
I think what is fun.
Okay.
Would be penetration testing. I think
okay.
That's something, But I'm literally a security officer right now.
Physical security.
right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I know the importance of physical security in general, because with my criminal justice background.
Sure.
So when it comes to security,
I got to hook you up with Chase because on the governance side they have CJIS. There is a whole. I don't mess with that. CJIS. That's how you end up with federal charges and stuff like that. Yeah. So I don't do HIPAA. I did that in a former life. Won't be doing that either. But I mean, it's for every. That's what I think cybersecurity is so amazing because for every piece, every unique option, whether it's OT, whether it's IoT, whether it's IT, whether it's SCADA, whether it's iOS, there is such a robust place. But it's falling in love. It's finding where you belong. I'm not in cybersecurity. We should all make a promise to say we are not in cybersecurity. We need to get a little bit deeper, whether you fall in love with command line, which I won't do, which you fall in love with firewalls and sales, which I won't do. But we got to stop saying we're in cybersecurity. I'm in GRC. We're in GRC.
I'm a cyber specialist.
Yeah.
Right? So I come in and I specialize to what our customers' needs are. Right. We develop platforms. We have policies. You dictate the policies. I can't dictate your policies.
I hate that. Just tell me what I need to do. How about
I can enforce them.
that?
I can give you a baseline of policies. And I can lock everyone out. So we're moving to a world now of zero trust.
You better.
That started.
Yeah, so we started.
That's where my boy
Yeah,
started.
yeah.
When you cut everyone off at home, but the end user is the weakest link.
Yeah.
Because if someone mimics Microsoft and they say log on to my computer and let me in.
We lost.
My poor end user here. I embarrass him, but I'm in cybersecurity. But I can't control. I have
His
locked
action,
down.
his clicks.
Control human interaction.
you can only help or
And that's security awareness training as well. We have to, that's one of the pillars that Cyber Minds focuses on. We do critical infrastructure, we do K through 12, we do older adults. I think everybody in this room has been affected by an older person being scammed or something on the phone.
Or younger.
Or I hear you. My mom is literally afraid to click on anything.
That's right.
She just look, this thing came up, Jamila, come down, and it's a lot. And I think AI makes it 6 times worse, where when you used to have the phishing emails and there was grammar issues, the bad guys using Grammarly. Like they're using spell check.
And don't be afraid to make a hustle out of it. Just so you're clear, 20 years old, what really got me into IT was people didn't know how to connect their computers to.
I wrote resumes.
A house full of computers. And these computers back then, I remember he used to buy them for his accounting. And they were like, what, $4,000 or $5,000, and they couldn't make them talk. And so people would pay me an astronomical amount of money.
Find your
back
niche.
then at 20.
Find your niche. Yeah.
Then I got into this thing, someone that, again, curiosity, they say, kills the cat, but can also
Put money in your pocket.
put money in your pocket. So I got into H cards for satellite dishes.
Wow, that's specific.
Everything I know, from firefighters to police to cops, again, wanted to know, how do I get HBO? How do I get the sports channel? Oh, let me show you, right? And it's programming. And
I'm hearing a hustler right now. I'm hearing.
Hustle never stop what it is. It's just creativity. So for you guys, when you say, I'm not in cybersecurity, I'm a cyber specialist, your own hustle, your family, your neighbors, will you pay me to come teach you basics? Don't click on this, look for this. Make sure every website you look for has the S on it.
Yep.
What if it doesn't?
Don't go
Call
there.
me.
Yeah.
I'm not for free.
You can't charge grandpa. You can't.
But I think you'll quickly start to see, and then it will, hey, can you go to my son's doctor's office? Or could you go to my son's, he owns a paint company, and could you go look at, next thing you know, you got money coming in, and you have to continue the education and the path of where you want to go. Have the goal. Like I think, and I think for us, our goal has been an evolution, because you've been in, hearing you, we've been in as long
We've
the
been
same
in the
time,
game a while,
right?
yeah.
And I was in an infrastructure company. I came to a cyber company. I'm immersed with AI on what it's going to do, because I hate doing the same thing. The definition of insanity, right?
Mm-hmm.
More than 3 times,
Yeah.
I want it operationalized. Like, I don't want to have to tell you to do, like, my kids, don't take out the garbage. Don't do it. I'll just do it at that point, right? So I automated it myself. And that's how you got to get your mind to think of always wanting. This environment, I will tell you, coming from a third world immigrant son, it pays. It does well. People will pay for it because they don't understand it. And when someone doesn't understand it, either makes them very nervous, and you can capitalize on that, or they'll say, teach me.
He's just being honest. He's just Honesty.
So a little bit of additional context though. Those misspellings, those typos in the phishing emails back in the day that everybody laughed at.
I miss those. They were so
Here's
funny.
the dirty secret I found out from somebody who worked very closely in that world. Those typos were intentional because those typos were meant to weed out people who were perceptive and to get to people who were less perceptive.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
That was, yes. So the bad actors, they played on, we all laughed and stuff during that time, but the whole point was to make sure they got people who didn't pay attention, because it's like if you're going to sell, you want to sell to your target demographic.
Yeah.
So that was all intentional. That was kind of like the biggest eye opener. It was like, oh man, like they were playing us the whole time.
No, the bad guys, they're
Yeah.
bad guys. So
Yeah.
it's interesting.
So y'all had a lot of information, right?
Questions,
So-
come on, questions.
Make
Questions.
it interactive.
Yeah,
There's no
let's-
wrong question.
Yeah, how can we help you? By the way, I want to get everybody's LinkedIn. If you reach out, I will help you to kind of figure out what you're doing, where you're going, and stuff like that. So here's.
And sometimes you just want to talk.
By the way, get them to scan y'all. Y'all in cybersecurity, right? So you.
I don't scam people.
Because here's what. Think about this, right? I could take this QR code. I could make a picture that looks just like this, right? Change
Bring it
the
up.
QR code, and I could infect everybody that to scan me. In fact, I might be scanning, like infecting your phone
He's
right now.
scamming you right now. And I'm joking. He's like, what's your name? I'll type that in. No.
Okay. So
I'll send out, and I think I did it for you, right? Like,
Yeah.
so
Yes.
the education program is there. I also, you asked for
Yes.
hands-on. I just texted. So he's the current
Thank you.
CISO of
am I doing?
rentals. He runs a very tight boot camp on it, where others and myself donate equipment. But it's called hackrange.org.
Thank you.
And that if you want hands-on, he will put you through it. He runs it every 9 weeks. It's called hackrange.org. Hands-on firewall, networking, and Tim, he used to be the CISO of Magic Leap, which is the AI glasses, and he's a great guy. And he, so I just texted him and put my name. You have my name and contact. John Moneywell recommended this. You may not get in the first round because it's sought after, but again, that's that grit, right? Stay after it, and then text me every time you apply to the hack range, because that's your hands-on. He will put you through it. People I've seen that go through his program come out
Ready.
ready.
Yep. And I think that is the unfair part that we're doing to the next generation of cybersecurity professionals. Because I know how it feels to be passionate about something and I want to do something and have the grit, but getting that first opportunity, I just didn't realize it was so hard. I've watched so many students, so many people with cybersecurity degrees, delivering pizza.
Yeah.
It's
It got so bad to the point where I'm willing to pay someone to get an interview. I'm gonna pay them money. That's how bad it is. That's how literally bad it is. And I'm still willing. That's an offer I'm still willing to do. I will pay someone to just let me work under them just to get it.
well, I will tell you, one of the guys that we hired on our team, he basically worked for free for 4 months as an unpaid internship. That is still an option because
I'll take that in a heartbeat.
yeah. So
and I giggled 20 years ago. I worked for the city of Fort Lauderdale as an intern. I wasn't paid, but I knew I had to get hands-on experience, and it was that internship in government that was my segue into getting a position. And there's just the market is so saturated.
yeah.
And there's such a shortage, but it's a cart and horse.
Yeah.
They want you to have experience, right?
But they say an entry-level position that you need the CISSP for. I'm like, that takes 5 years.
Yeah.
So how is that an entry-level position?
Well,
So the labs and for the certifications, the materials, the labs itself not considered like hands-on.
Depends on who's looking.
Yeah.
I did a lot of certifications so far now.
Yeah.
The last one I did SANS, the GFACT, and
which one?
SANS.org.
Yeah, SANS.
SANS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
GFACT, it's foundation and most likely.
The 401?
Yeah, that she's
No,
legit.
it's
No,
just
she.
Okay. Wait, it sounds like $9,000.
Yeah, I'm like, woo.
I got the scholarship with
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, okay. I like that.
Like, woo.
I got 2 SANS surgeons. I'm man, they cost.
And
Yeah.
it's
Yes.
really good for networking, programming, all the
Yes.
introduction, incident response,
Yeah.
and actually I got good score with them on 91%.
This is my pharmacist though. She was like, Ms. Johnson, do you think I can be in cyber? Yes.
The labs were so good.
Yeah.
The other one I did junior penetration testing.
my
The
God,
test
yeah,
for the
yeah.
3 days, and
And why doesn't she have a job?
Yeah, no, that's a good question.
Yeah.
but at the end I don't have in my
Experience,
resume
yeah.
the professional
She's
Experience.
talking about real world experience.
Yeah,
I think that, is there a difference between like a lab and real world experience, or is that just the same?
Well,
I'm different because I want to know that you have the passion and the grit.
Yeah.
Because I can take anybody and teach them. So I'm
Academia is easy.
like, I don't know that I want to know that you want it. I can teach you anything. Like, I don't, and it's weird where I see these job descriptions and I couldn't fill the position. I'm like, I look at some of these entry-level positions. I'm like, I don't want to apply for this. I couldn't apply for this. So it's weird. I don't know if it's AI writing the job descriptions. I don't know if it's, I don't know. I have this conversation in every circle I talk to, and one of my besties, JB from CrowdStrike, his mentee, he's brilliant, like straight up. He is brilliant, cannot get a job. And I'm like, is it the soft skills? How do you interview? Do we need to have your resume reviewed? Do you have your elevator speech? These are all things that are a part of that process and growth and being comfortable expressing who you are as a professional to sell yourself. So maybe it's a little bit of that. Maybe it's the saturation in South Florida. I mean, the ultimate thing is we can't give up because we got responsibilities and we want a good life and we got, car notes and insurance and we just got to keep pushing.
so I got an answer for that. So once again, y'all hit me up because I'll send you. They did an interview with the HR person for one of the major tech companies, and I think they said 99% of resumes get kicked out by the automatic system.
AI.
So there's all kind of things. If you put certain things in your resume, it's going to kick it out. If you don't have certain things in your resume, it's going to get kicked out. So the issue is you don't get to Dr. Natalie to talk to her. You don't ever get to that point. And so when you're trying, so the best path into the field right now is through connection. It's through a good old
Hi, my name is.
handshake, right?
Yeah.
So you need to be trying to get to people, even if it's a job. Like you need to reach out to find out who posted the job and reach out to the hiring manager. So there's a lot of videos I can send you on that because I kind of study that because I got people I'm trying to place. Like they're trained, they can do the job. I'm trying to get them placed, right? And so what I realized is that recruiters were kind of flaky. So I was like, I'll just do it for myself. So, I got a couple of people that's got opportunities that they're hopefully going to go into a third interview, they'll land a gig. So, but for you, like with all the experience you got and the question you had, hands-on experience versus actual, yes,
Right.
there is a difference. In my opinion, I would say 100% there is a difference. Now, if you lab the right way, then that may be taken into account. But once again, that's considering that you don't get kicked out by the automated system in the first place. That works if you get to the person, you talk to them, and say, "Oh, I like
Y'all aren't getting to the persons though. Y'all aren't getting to a human.
Your first hack is to learn to understand applicant tracking system, which is what the HR department does. So there's ATS. You got to understand ATS. Certain keywords you have to have in it.
Mm-hmm.
So there are people that are just literally studying this. I actually met at one of the tech events, one of the larger companies. I met the guy, I talked to him. I was trying to get him to come on the channel, and it was like, well, it's kind of not a good fit because you're trying to tell people how to get past the system. You don't want to-
I don't want to talk to you.
so when you're saying like you're trying to get into the field and stuff like that, the main thing is you need to network as much as possible. And in fact, I like what we did today. I feel like this is unique, I feel like we might this would be good to replicate.
This is the sweet spot. I love the big events, but you don't get that intimate. You don't get that. I will remember you. He will remember you. He was a given. I'm like, he's 400 walls in the hill. Yeah. So I mean, this is a win.
No, it's fantastic. Really well.
It means a lot to us because we're on our tail of the next 10 years of our journey. So you guys are the next up and coming. Not by age, just by...
I'm selfish. I want to retire. Like I cannot be a practitioner for another 20 years. So
I can't believe it. I'm 46. And I'm like, look,
I don't want to do this no more.
as you hit certain milestones...
I like how you put that.
Right.
I'm going to have to steal that one.
Your brain can only absorb so much, and it's so much being thrown at us.
There's so much new.
So what I do is I hone in my skills more, right? I did jump. I'm trying to figure out, in the future, do I have one more jump with the next AI?
I do. I got another jump. I got one more jump and I'm done.
Like what I'm seeing with AI but again, you bring it to a practical level, not like, you know, make me a cup of coffee or how do I make spaghetti, right? When you start to bring AI to outcomes, bridging continents, right? Think about how many different languages and dialects there are in this world. But at the end of the day, what are people trying to do, right? Like I work with a company, they just want to rent cars, right? Rent cars. Right. But they want to rent cars across the globe. And they have 5 major parameters, right? But think about that now across every dialect, every economic coin, you know, every location, every server, every firewall,
Every
network
endpoint.
they got to touch.
Yep.
Think about how many times you traveled and all the differences to those airports, right?
I can imagine.
So,
Yeah.
but again, that's just one example. The banking industry has been doing it for 30 years,
Yeah.
and they're still trying to catch up. They spend
And they still not getting it right.
breach every day.
Yeah.
Because human error is still the challenge, right? So anything we can do, we're here to help. But I will say this, like it doesn't come to you. Like I'll put you on a thread. We have a guy that just puts all of our events, and he puts IASCA and IT group. I would love to add it to a website.
And
Yeah.
we were thinking about it's coming up with a name, but I see all of the organizations in our area, and they're all fabulous. I'm a full disclosure. I'm a PMB, a PIM member. I'm an ISACA member. I'm an ISSA member. I'm Black Girls Hack. Everybody get a little bit of my money, but we need to understand that you might fit in ISACA, and you might be an ISSA girl. And it's not a competition. We need to make sure that everyone is getting fed, because ultimately it's the society that's losing. Where I don't care who you network with. I just want to make sure that you're networking and that you're getting what you're supposed to get, and that you're getting those skills, and honestly that you're the passion for it. Because if you don't, you're gonna burn out. Like I've seen so many people. Oh, I'm gonna make $100,000 a year, and you burn out in 3 years. The average life of a CISO. I mean,
My first 4 years of my career, I started at what, 19,800, and it was top performing. There was guys literally right next to me. Just because you were an MCSE, just because you were a CCNA, they were making 4 times my
much
salary
as you.
for 4 years.
yeah, the market's changed.
That taught grit because I'm doing the work, and I was putting in the same work as them. And then I got the certification, and then I had the hands-on experience, and then that's what becomes the combination. So it can't be one or the other. You can't just be in academia and preach on cybersecurity. You've got to know.
I know what you're talking about. Like I'm not super technical, but I know enough to be dangerous. And you know, it's finding where you fit. Like I'm never gonna hang out with him. We're never gonna command prompt together, but we still vibe, and it's still a good conversation. Every once in a while, I throw some fancy terms at him, and she goes, yeah, she does that. I'm with the feds. Okay.
I learned fast though.
No,
Any
but
other questions? I do have to head out. I'm gonna put my twins to bed.
you want to take some pizza, right?
No pizza for me.
Oh my God, oh my God.
I was just saying, one tough thing is what to do every morning during the week, work week, the CISO series. Have you ever heard of it?
CISO series.
CISO series headlines.
Good ones.
CISO series headlines. They do a podcast every morning. They talk about the major cybersecurity breaches and vulnerabilities and stuff like that. It's news. And they do a good job of summarizing. Like we used to watch it, like with my past team, we would always listen to it's like 8 minutes. Okay, so 8 minutes, Monday through Friday. Listen to the CISO series. On Friday, they have a whole bunch of different like live meetings, webcasts, and stuff like that. And they're talking about the industry because you need to make sure you shape your perception of the industry. Like make sure you got a realistic perspective. So once you start watching the CISO series on a daily basis, hit up your Windows skills, Linux, whatever. Message me, if you have any questions. If you're kind of like, what your next step is.
We will find your way.